Guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video here. In this video, I'm just going to go through and make a few improvements to Loki's habitat and, try to just fix some things up and, just all in all try to make his life a little bit better being here. So anyway, just stick around, come on the adventure with me. We're going to play around with some yabbies, watch him eat a bit of food, play around with some filtration and just spruce things up a little bit. Hope you guys really enjoy the video. The first thing I actually wanted to do inside of his enclosure was get rid of all the corrugated iron looking stuff everywhere. It just became a bit of a cockroach trap, and it also stopped me getting into that filtration box at the back. For a long period of time I had just been doing massive 100% water changes regularly on Loki's tank, but I really want to get it looking a little bit more natural, a little bit more enriching in there and get a bit more filtration happening and just make it how I kind of envisioned it at first place. Okay, so that was an absolute mission, and as you can see, I have gotten all of the fake iron, the kind of plastic iron out. I don't know, I just kind of got over it, so I'm going to try something different down the line, but we'll see how we go. As you can see, cockroaches have made a mess behind it as well, so it's just a little bit impossible to keep clean. And because I haven't had the filter system running on this for ages, keep in mind a lot of this stuff I've just brushed into here so I can just siphon it out onto the grass. But yeah, because I haven't had the filter running for ages, I just opened up the back here and all these mosquitoes came out. So obviously not good for old Loki man here. So what I'm going to temporarily do is try to get the filter running back on here, putting in a new pump and kind of getting that all turning over and whatnot. With a kind of pre-filter sponge that I'll put down in that section, just so if he does clog it up, then at least if I have all that ironclad stuff off, I can actually get into here and work it a little bit. But I think I will try to upgrade the filtration down the line. I have been talking to old mate Doc Merton on Instagram, who's given me a few tips as to what he does for his filtration for Doc, the Merton's water monitor. So yeah, we might do something a bit more down that line shortly, hopefully. Depending on how funds and stuff go. But yeah, it kind of almost looks a little bit reminiscent of early days when this first box was built. But I'm looking forward to getting this looking a little bit nicer and maybe getting some fish back in here, something for Loki to chase, maybe a few yabbies, bits and pieces. So anyway, I'm going to crack on, start siphoning all this gunk out and getting this filtration sorted, and hopefully we can get old mate back in the box. As you guys may remember, early days in this tank, I actually had a gravel bottom in here, and it was just impossible to keep clean. Hey, like it was honestly just such a pain because the amount of waste that Loki would create and the amount of gravel siphoning and stuff I'd have to do was just nearly impossible to kind of get a lot of the funk up. As you can see, I've done a pretty good water change there, and I've still got a little bit of dirt to go. But that's okay, that'll come out in due course. But what I want to show you is an idea that I have gotten from Tyson, from Doc Merton on Instagram, and that's about using a bit of universal rock background as a base to the actual water monitor's enclosure. Now this is going to be awesome because it's going to actually let Loki get his nails into this and hold onto it and grip onto it. And what else this is going to do is also just provide me a surface area where yabbies and things can crawl around in here just fine. I can weigh it down with a few rocks and I can suck all the funk up off the bottom of this. And if I need to, I'm just going to be able to pull it out because I'm not going to silicone this into place necessarily, but I can pull it out if I wanted to, you know, take it out, spray it off. If I need to leave it outside because it got covered in algae for some reason for a couple of days, then I can do that. You know, I can take a gurney to it and it's going to be fine. But this just means that it's going to give a bit more of a natural look. Loki can grip onto it. It's nice and textural, and it's going to look awesome in there. And one day, when I finally get enough space and enough money up my sleeve, I'd love to really do something similar to what Doc has got over on her enclosure. Man, if you guys haven't already, you guys have to go and check out Doc Merton on Instagram. He's got tons of followers on there, and for good reason too. His habitats are just phenomenal. Like, I thought Loki's enclosure was alright, and this is just, his enclosure puts this to shame. Like, in all honesty, it's just phenomenal. So yeah, you guys need to go and check him out and follow him. And he's also got a YouTube channel started up called Habitats at Home as well. So make sure you go and give that a subscribe while you're there. Anyway, I'm going to crack on, get this in, see if we can get a pump going in the back of this, and hopefully get some water turning over, and let the big man back in there, and yeah, start a bit of a cycle on here. So in amongst all my wood pile and bits and pieces that I've got kicking around out here, I've got this empty black tub. You can see that I've just got a little aerator in there, just a air pump, just bubbling away. I'm going to actually use this to store a few yabbies. Not like tons of yabbies, but you know, just enough that I can kind of feed them off to Loki within a fortnight sort of thing. So what I'm going to do now is, now that that's kind of done, I've got these tubes here, just these bits of PVC pipe. I'm essentially just going to chop it down and make like a whole stack of these little tubes here, just so the yabbies have got space in the actual tub to get away from each other, so then they don't all end up eating each other and stuff. So anyway, I might chop that into like 3 and then join it all up with some zip ties, just like I have there, but bigger. And yeah, that'll give the yabbies heaps of space to get away from each other, and I can get them out of there real easy. Alright, so there we go. It's like a little yabby hotel. So hopefully they're not going to escape this tub. But at least with that, there's plenty of spaces for them to hide in there. There's 15 tubes, and I figure if I'm buying, you know, 20 odd yabbies at a time, then at least there should be plenty of space that they shouldn't kind of come and interact with each other too much, or fighting over territory or anything like that. I haven't got much experience keeping yabbies, so you know, depending on how this goes, I might try to turn it into something a little bit better, like maybe use both tubs or get a tub double the size or something, maybe a little bit deeper. Maybe even see if I can pick up a little second-hand pond or something like that and run a bit better filtration and bits and pieces on there. I know they can be escape artists, so I'm a little bit worried that this bit of mesh that I usually put across here might not be enough, but we're going to see how we go. You know, worst case I lose a couple of yabbies, and you know, I'll work on it and I'll improve it from there. So amongst other things that I'm upgrading here for Loki, Jerry's really come to the party and given me one of these awesome 7.0 T5 units for his enclosure. And this is basically just to brighten it up even further and also give him just a little bit of extra UVB as he's walking around. Nothing too strong, but just something that will be a little bit extra. You know, you can get it while he's swimming around. A 7.02, because of the spectrum of it, it's a really good visible light. So this has apparently got, you can see a good breakdown actually on the box there. It's got 7% UVB, 30% UVA, and then 63% visual light. And it says that it's the equivalent to a 6,000 Kelvin sunlight, so it's pretty bright. You know, it would actually, I'd hazard a guess that it would actually grow some plants at that sort of spectrum too, if it is in fact, you know, a good 6,000 Kelvin like that. But amongst other things that I'm upgrading for him, let's go and put this in his tank and see how much of a difference that it actually makes on here. So here's an interesting fact about mangrove monitors, is for some reason they can actually make their gums bleed on purpose. And Loki's not super happy with me, and it's kind of dissipated a little bit right now, but he actually just started bleeding pretty heavily from his gums. This isn't uncommon with these guys. When they get a little bit stroppy, they get a little bit pissed off at things. It just seems to be some sort of like, I don't know if it's a defense mechanism of some sort to kind of go, hey, I'm tough, leave me alone, look at me, you know, I'm covered in blood or whatever, like, or, you know, geez, you don't want me, I'm bleeding or something like that. Like, it's a bit of a weird sort of mechanism to have, but it's quite an interesting one. I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't catch the kind of bulk of it, because he really let it loose there all of a sudden. But he kind of licks it up as soon as he's done it, so I don't really want to stress him out and show it off any further than that, of course, but I'm trying to just encourage him to go down into his hide box, just so I can quickly install this light and get out of his way. Well, thankfully Loki did decide to play ball eventually and go down into his hide box. Sometimes it takes a little bit of encouragement to get him down into there. These little clips go together super easy for hanging these T5s. They're pretty universal across most T5 units. They're just a little clip like that, and a timber enclosure like there. I'm just going to use a little button screw just to fasten it straight to the top, and then the actual T5 bracket will go straight into that and make it nice and easy for us. So I'm probably just going to put it just on the other side of this light here. Nice and simple like that. Now I'll have to go and get the reflector out and the tube. So if you guys do end up getting one of these Get Your Pet Right globes at some point or another, there is something that you have to know. This blue side of this is not the actual reflector. It is like a protector for the reflector, so you do have to make sure to take it off. Super simple too, like it's just a film. But just make sure you take it off just to release that kind of like, you know, real nice silver shiny side, just to maximise the amount of UV output that's actually going to come off of the unit and reflect down on top of your animal. Okay, so this is ready to go and click into this unit now. Okay, so once you figure out which side is which, it's reasonably simple to pop it in. Might actually just take the globe out for now, just in case I do manage to bend it a bit funny or something. I hate to smack the globe up and break that. Nice and easy snap into place too. Nice and firm too, so hopefully old Loki Monster won't actually pull this out. The cord's going to go through that bung up there. That's just an old Reptile one, those kind of dials that they use for there. And I've actually just got a tape shut on the back just in case Loki does manage to get it out. Although these days at least he's too big to actually fit outside the hole, so even if it did come out, he's not getting outside of it anytime soon. Globe's nice in there now. And go and feed the cord through the back, and we should be in business. It'll be nice to see the difference in the enclosure brightness. Oh, that's instantly so much brighter. At something that a lot of people don't actually think about for reptiles is the brightness of their enclosure and how that's actually going to have a good effect on their eyes. Like, reptiles really need bright light to actually be able to dilate their eyes properly and get that kind of proper daylight stimulation. And whilst this LED is actually a really good LED, sometimes it just doesn't cut the mustard, you know, and having a T5 that's such a high output light is going to make all the difference. And I've got so many plans for Loki, and his enclosure just keeps getting better and better. One day I have a dream enclosure in mind, what I want to build. And yeah, man, if you, as I said before, you know, go and check out Doc Merton on Instagram. He's honestly such an inspiration. Nice dude too, really did well talking to him just to get a few ideas and kind of just bounce a couple of ideas off each other here and there. But yeah, I've already ordered some upgraded filtration for Loki. Man, he's got those awesome splash-proof mercury vapor globes down there. Got these awesome T5 light up here as well as his LED. This enclosure is so bright now. It's still dirty, don't get me wrong, it's still dirty. I need to get a scrubbing brush and get all that foul cockroach crap out of here. But it's one step at a time, you know? Like, his tank's looking so much better. I can't wait to get the filtration for this. I actually want to get that cranking ASAP, so that's probably my next goal for this enclosure, is get something that's a little bit nicer, a little bit more powerful, a little bit more comprehensive filtration. But yeah, we'll only go from there and see what we can improve. But all in all, I think Loki's a bit grumpy at me right now, but all in all, the enclosure's looking pretty good. It's definitely satisfactory, and I can't wait to get these yabbies in and give him a feed. No doubt I'll give you a little clip at the end of the video of him eating away on some good yabbies. But yeah, man, just one by one. I've got to upgrade all my animals one by one, get everything perfect one by one. So, you know, I'm only one guy, so I can only do little bits at a time, but it is getting there. Check out the size of this log that I've gotten for Loki. To give you a bit of scale, it is a decent piece of wood. Might take me a little while to get it inside of the enclosure. Maybe that could be tomorrow's job. So I've just gotten home from work. I got a whole stack of yabbies for Loki. This is just something to kind of kickstart this little yabby holding area that I've got over here. I might end up ordering some more in bulk from the same supplier that Tyson gets his from at some stage, just to try it out. Well, we may as well give him a bit of a snack while we're here. So I'm just going to pour some of them into this bucket here and net out the ones that I'm not going to use today and put them in the little tub over the side there. These guys are only little tackers, but you can see that they're going to be a nice little snack for Loki. And yeah, it's just a bit of trial by error anyway. I just want to have a bit of fun doing this, and hopefully we can see if we can give him some of these little tiny yabbies. Okay, so there we can see the big man there. We got a few little tiny Yabby treats here. So, hoping they would be a little bit bigger than this, but at least there'll be a nice little snack for him. And what I might do is I might put a couple in the actual tank and give him a couple as well. So then he can go and forage around for a few of them. Well, wish me luck. I'm going to try to do this one-handed. Most of Loki's lights just went out. Did he catch it? He did. Good catch, mate. While he's distracted on that one, I might try to get a couple of the smaller ones into the actual tank. He's definitely a rat bag when it comes to the yabbies. He absolutely loves them. You did drop them. Dropped a couple and went after the tongs then, didn't you? Silly fella. He looks so good in there in that tank now. I've added a couple of young rainbow fish in there as well as a few feeders and stuff. Just to see how they go and start a bit of a cycle on this before I get the upgraded filtration. Yeah, this is my little version of a crocodile. Okay, give him one more. Hopefully he doesn't jump out of his enclosure here. He's pretty excited. There we are. You get him? Yeah, there you go. Just a tiny little snack for you. You could do better than that, hey? Might have to order some bigger ones for you next time. One day, I'd love to get this monitor a way bigger tank, so I can actually fully swim in it. This one's not too bad. You can get a bit of movement happening in here. A little bit of foraging behaviour. But yeah, I'd love to get him something way bigger. You can see how he's now able to grip onto the bottom nicely as well. He's got a couple of rocks he can actually stand on. He wants more yabbies. Maybe tomorrow morning, mate, when your lights come back on. I don't mind giving you a bit of a treat. Don't eat those rainbow fish though. He's such a funny lizard. He's so intelligent. I absolutely adore this creature. I can't wait one day to give him something that's like a really, really nice big enclosure. Maybe even something I can walk into and spend a bit of time with him. So I'm thinking about trying to get this log into Loki's enclosure sooner rather than later, just because it's too good a piece to have around. Plus, I'm going to have a fire tonight, so you know, if I have to cut a little bit off, then that's not going to go astray, and I'll probably save it for the fire. So his enclosure, I reckon I'll be able to squeeze it in if it's about pretty much tight at 2.1 meters. I'd really love to try to keep this fork in there if I could, but at the same time it's so far away from the base. I think the base is going to be a crucial part, so maybe I'll cut it sort of about there, so then you can kind of bask out over this section here and then have as much length kind of hanging out over his enclosure up to here, and hopefully I can keep a bit of this fork at least up until about this sort of point, so he can have a bit of an area that he can kind of drape over if he wants to. Managed to clear most of the ants out. There's probably still a few left in there, but nothing too much that I have to worry about. I didn't really want to use any insecticides or anything on it, just because, yeah, I don't know. He's my favourite lizard, and if he were to get sick because of something like that, I'd be really, really angry with myself. But to get it in, I am going to have to actually take the glass panels off this enclosure, which I don't think I've done in a long time. So hopefully everything still can come out okay. So I think that's going to be the only way I'm going to get this log actually into place. On a closer inspection, I don't actually think I'm able to take the enclosure panels out. And I think that's mainly because of the fact that when I built this enclosure, I didn't want Loki to ever be able to actually kind of slide them up and drop them out by any means. So I may have to just try my luck at manoeuvring this big log in here. And yeah, just hoping it fits. It's going to be a bit of a funny one just to kind of manoeuvre it around that big post and past the glass and past the glass tank and everything. But we're not going to know unless we try. So wish me luck. Oh. Well, that's a good learning curve to tell me that it's not going to fit just quite yet, but it's not far off. I'm going to have to trim the branches here and just keep about half of this sort of fork. So I'm going to pull it back out, give it a quick cut, and hopefully we'll get it in. So I've managed to shorten it by about a foot and a half, or for us Australians, 30 to 45 centimetres. Oh, it's so close to getting in there. Like, it's an inch out. That's kind of frustrating. Worst part is I know it'll fit. I can't come through the other side either because that's got no room against it, so I can only really get the branch in this way. I've got an idea. And this, in theory, should work. So it's going to be a bit painful, but I'm going to try to get this viewing window of Loki's out. It's only perspex, so it's only just screwed in through the back here. There's probably, I don't know, 20 screws or so holding it together. I think if I get that out, I should be able to maneuver it in through the window and into position.
Now I wish I was still living in the past. Yeah. Never felt so damn frustrated. You're just wasting my time. All the feelings that I dread is ringing in my head. Can't believe the words you said. Ringing in my head. Somebody save me. Now we're hanging by a thread and it's ringing in my head.
It's about 2 centimetres too long. We're not far from the mark though, and I'm not going to pull it out again, I'm just going to cut it where it is. So what I want to do is I want to kind of have it running from that far corner down that side up to this wall here, be able to put a screw through this little bit of timber just to kind of wedge it into place so it's not going to fall over and crush him or anything like that. And that way he's got full access under Jerry's Get Your Pet Right 7.0 T5 there as well. And I might end up rerouting that shelf down the back with the mercury vapor bulbs as well over the base of the log down that same side. Because eventually I want to go down the same route as what Tyson has done on his enclosure and get a full universal rock background on it. Just start saving piece by piece because it's not cheap stuff. That's the plan anyway. So I'm going to dock a couple of mil off this, a couple of centimetres rather, and hopefully get back into place and call it a day. So there you have it guys, that's enough for one day. I think I need to get a gurney in here to actually get that cockroach poo off the walls unfortunately. Well that's okay. I'm just kind of running out of daylight, running out of time. You can see I've repositioned those light domes above his log there. There's still a few ants crawling in and around there. This log comes the whole way out, all the way up here. Now he's got a cross beam as well so he can sit up here and look out into the sunshine whilst he's getting all that nice UV bright light from up there. And his water's a little bit murky at the moment, but I did just give it a water change. Figured while I got the hoses and stuff out, may as well. And you can see the grumpy bugger looking out from his hollow down that end there. It's covered in dirt and stuff down that end just because I'm spraying a bit of water around all over the place. But yeah, hopefully I'll get those walls cleaned up nice and shortly. All in all, not too bad for a couple of days work, just mucking around, trying to improve his little habitat here a bit. And hopefully that'll give him a bit of exercise too, just crawling along that log. So if you haven't already guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel and drop a like and a comment on the video. And yeah, stay tuned for some more reptile related content. And I'll catch you on the next video. Take it easy.